So Pete, we're here at Boardman Bikes launch, bump into 2012 Ironman World Champion. This is the bike that was launched in Kona this year, which you had a big hand in. So before we talk about you, Kona last year, this year and the future, just tell us a little bit about the bike and the involvement that you've had in it.
Well, the first bike was built for my measurements, so I guess that just involved from my point to start with, just getting a good clean shot of the bike from a far away with me on it and with me not on it, so that they could get all the angles, measurements sort of and things, and then sending them also measurements, but they wanted, you know, the photos, the measurements. And then they built this one really just for where I fitted on it. So I was confident there wasn't going to be really a lot of adjustment for that when it came closer to Hawaii. You know, and it was just a month out, just sort of got the frame, minimal difference. I really couldn't, in terms of where I was on the bike, really small difference. But yeah, just chatting about things with the bike. It was obviously, you know, with Ironman, a few things about what do you have to carry, fluid, where do you carry it, and Chris is really interested in where he can further increase that for next year in terms of developing, you know, specialty areas to carry the gels and things. And then, yeah, just aerodynamics of it, just hiding all the cables and things. I mean, they're just no-brainers, and they came up with all that fancy stuff. But I think I've got a pretty standard size, you know, about 5'10", and you know, so they were easy to build to my size, and that'll be you know, hopefully something that a lot of people will fit to as well. Yeah, I'm very comfortable on it, and yeah, always have been very comfortable on the Boardman bike, you know, but I can feel that it's a bit stiffer, lighter. It obviously looks fantastic, and it's just those little instinctive things that you can see it looks fast, so you feel faster on it.
Yeah. So we're talking in a minute about Kona this year, but before we do that, let's just go back. Obviously, you won Kona 2012. You'd shown the development for a good 4 years. You'd proven that almost a typical pathway for a Kona athlete of you need to come in, get a solid result, and then get a very good result, and then get very close.
Yeah.
Very rare someone just comes in and boom, you know, boots it out of the park. So you got that win, and it really seemed like for that year you really enjoyed being Ironman World Champion. It might be a daft thing to say, but you relish the fact that it was something you'd strive for, you'd achieved it, and that title was something that fitted comfortably on you, didn't become a burden. Would that be fair comment?
Yeah, fair to say. You know, I really did enjoy it. I went to races where they wanted me there, and they wanted to promote the fact that this was the Ironman World Champ currently. And you know, and I got to meet a lot of people and interact with a lot of people at those events, and you know, I really enjoyed that side of my job, and I really learnt a lot, and learnt what I do and don't like, but pretty much I liked everything about it. I liked all that, you know, meeting people and passing on my knowledge, and suddenly you've got that credibility that people are listening to what you say, and you know, I don't preach about what I've learnt, but I've learned a lot over the several years, and you know, it's a big learning curve, and I definitely feel that I've got a lot to offer other athletes and even non-athletes in terms of, you know, a few common sense things that you really don't realise until you're spending that amount of time on your own, training, self-analysing, and all of that. So yeah, I enjoyed the whole year, and you know, and then it takes you places that maybe you wouldn't have gone otherwise if you weren't in that position. But you know, they were things that I did enjoy doing.
I think one thing that always amazes me that I don't think people are as familiar with about you. For an Ironman champion, certainly you're relatively young. And normally at this point, somebody hasn't maybe done lots of Ironmans, but you actually have done a lot of Ironmans, coming up as an age group or into the pro ranks. And one of the interesting comments that I think you said maybe a couple of years ago, it took you all of that time to realise that to be the best, you had to train less than everybody else, not more. So almost like a voyage of discovery to get the confidence to go, I now know what works for me.
Yeah, it was. I say it was turning my weakness into my strength. Ever since I was young, when I first turned professional, I thought if I can train as much as everyone else, I think I can beat them. I had a lot of confidence in my natural ability, and obviously, but I'd swum since I was young, so that probably helped me develop a lot of that natural ability. But yeah, really, until I realised a couple of years ago that I've been battling fatigue for several years, and then I had to actually go, let's do less, and have confidence in when I was having those days off that it was good for my body, because I was doing as much as I could do and still be healthy. And being healthy in a healthy state is vital for any sport, but particularly for Ironman when you're going for so many hours at that level. So I realised that I had to train less than everyone else, and I became confident with that approach, and confidence is key, and it works well.
Obviously this year Kona didn't go the way that clearly you won, and hoping to do it again, so just give us a quick roundup of Kona this year, what the problems were, or what you think they are, even if you don't know what they were, and what you've learned for future years.
Yeah, a big part of it was a month out. The day before Sunshine Coast 70.3, my hips and back got very tight out of nowhere, and I had a bad tight back during the race, the ride and the part early on in the run. But I worked through it, and I had an incredible race. I went really fast, felt great at the end, and I think that was such a confidence builder that I kind of ignored those little things that were underlaying under all the other work that I'd done and was doing, and I just didn't give it enough attention. And I know what I should have done and could have done just to completely eradicate that from my system, and I didn't. And that was probably the main part that sort of was a little thing that started a whole heap of other things on top, and everything kind of collapsed inwards. Yeah.
So what's the plan for next year? Obviously, as a defending champion, subject to just doing your validation race, you'll be qualified. Is Kona again to get back and be champion again for the second and maybe subsequent times? Is that the plan going forward?
Yeah, my long-term plan is to be able to compete there and win there, many times. But to get that level of consistency, that is my goal for consistency. So I'm going to race more often. I want to race an Ironman in really good shape, not like, I had an injury last year, and so I was constantly racing in my comeback, and I had to walk the last 10k of Frankfurt. My legs just completely fell apart and shattered, and those sort of little, memories in my muscles were not a great thing to take into Hawaii this year. So, I want to build up early in the season, avoid the injury that I had last year, which I can easily do. I'm a lot smarter and wiser than I was last year. You've got to have the bad races to learn from, and I'm really happy that I had that race in Hawaii to really just allow me to look back at what I was doing wrong, and I can see a few things. So I want to get in shape early, stay in shape all year, and really just build from race to race. Not even build race to race, but build early in the year and then just stay up there all year, and just have a heap of races where I'm building that confidence, building that positive feedback, that positive memories, and approaching those as I would Hawaii. So I've got everything sorted mentally and physically for Hawaii several months before the big race, rather than a few weeks, rather than the trajectory that I had this year, which is very much right. We've got 8 weeks to Hawaii. We need to get from here to there, and there's no time to deviate. where in hindsight I should have just deviated sideways and looked after my back and things. But this year I'll have the time to have that foresight rather than being in a position where hindsight is showing my problems. I'll be able to have the foresight to take care of anything that crops up during the year, and I'm really excited to race well, often, and consistently throughout this year, coming year.
Do you expect that just be one Ironman and then 70.3 or shorter distances, or any idea of the makeup of those races during 2014?
Yeah, I suspect it will be only one Ironman and Hawaii. I mean, I'd love to be in such great shape that I could do an Ironman in good shape, recover really well, and be confident that it doesn't affect me too much. But they do. It's an 8+ hour race, and no matter how strong and fit and comfortable you are throughout it, there's still a lot of stress going on throughout that day, whether it's dehydration or mental stress of being in the race. There's so much happening and all the food that you eat, different things happening. So, I just want to do it really well, recover quickly, get straight back into racing more 70.3s. So I want to race a lot of 70.3s, but the rest of the year will be spent at home in Australia, and I will just travel a week here, a week there, for races and any other commitments that I have with sponsors. I'll plan that really well so I can balance it all.
I know that Kona this year obviously didn't go well for you personally. So you still watch what goes on, you'll be aware of all the stuff that's happening in the race, obviously, while you are still at the front of the race and watching. Was there any sort of learnings that you got either from watching other athletes that you'll then take back and add into your bank of knowledge to apply for next year? I mean, a few people surprised everybody really. Certainly McKenzie produced a brilliant race that I don't think too many people expected him certainly to be there in the podium position come the end of the race at least.
He had a fantastic ride and race at Cairns. So you could see there that he was strong and fast on the bike and held it together on the run. I mean, Ironman and particularly Hawaii is just about not slowing down. And he showed he had great speed and strength in Cairns last year, and and when you look at how the race went, to have that sort of a lead off in front of so many other guys, I mean, all you've got to do is not slow down. And you look at a guy like Freddie, he's been strong all year. So all year, just strong. You know what he had to do, and he kind of wasn't doing that constant trajectory upwards, really good approach. So yeah, you see the guys that did well are the guys that raced well at an Ironman in the middle of the year and kind of got it dialed in, then from that point they just sort of maintained. So look, it's not surprising when you look at the results of a guy like Luke, because very strong athlete on the bike, been around long enough, he's done a lot of Ironmans, and last year had a great race but just didn't pan out so well. He approached it differently this year, he was smarter, he went easier at the first start of the bike and then built. There's just some common sense things that you can look at what the top couple of guys did, and I love that and I was in the position, I was confident before the race too, also sort of saying there's no reason why Sebastian will get off the front with a lead. Yes, he's a better cyclist than people in most races, but he's not superhuman. And everybody's on the same playing field, everybody has the same, everyone's trained really hard. There is no reason why someone will be, or is always going to be, that much quicker. You have to be confident that you can go faster than the best. We're all there because we believe we're the best. So I love that, Luke took it to him and he didn't sit in and go, this is the better rider than me. Luke said there's no reason why he's the better rider than me. I can go past him, and that's the approach that I had last year as well. And I think there's not many guys that have that ability to really back themselves, and that's what it takes in Hawaii. You've got to back yourself and just go for it. Believe you are the best, and believe you're better than everyone in every aspect. And I really admire Luke's race and Freddie as well. Fantastic race, really consistent and really well paced. And I've only pieced it together since the race by asking people pretty much, because I really didn't see a lot of it. But it was great to see another Aussie doing so well, and Luke's become a bit of his self-coached athlete with a few advisors, and I'm the same way, and I think it's a great approach.
Well, it's been great to speak to you, Pete. Fantastic to bump into you here at Boardman, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you certainly a lot higher up in Kona next year. So good luck with 2014, and
thank you very much.
Hope everything goes well, and we'll be seeing you riding one of these towards the front of many fields, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Cheers, Pete.
Thank you.